Welcome to the Digital Signage Today podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Brown, editor of Digital Signage Today. And we have a very special guest today. Ori, do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hey, Daniel. Good to be here again. I'm Ori Moore, Chief Business Officer and one of the co-founders at Whitechurch. Whitechurch is a wireless power company, but I guess you'll be telling about us.
This is wonderful. Well, we've got a growing audience, and I'm so excited to introduce even more people to your work because you're basically bringing the vision, I like to think of it as Nikola Tesla's vision, right, of the wireless power for the masses to life for consumer-grade devices, a whole variety. And just recently we heard you have a new product on display. Just as background, you've been designing these wirelessly powered screens for the retail environment for a while now, I think about 2 years maybe. And this is powerful because the research shows most of the decision purchases happen at the point of sale in the brick and mortar store. Can you tell us just a little bit about how you got involved in these digital screens?
Yep. So you're right. 80% of the buying still takes place in physical stores. And while brands are paying $200 or $300 billion a year on digital advertising, when Daniel actually goes to the supermarket and wants to decide between product A and product B and handing and just grabbing something, there is no digital engagement at the point of purchase, at the point where Daniel can be influenced. And why is that? One of the reasons is that you don't have power at the shelf. And if you want to influence, if you want to digital engage with someone, you need power at the shelf, and then you can add video or any other digital engagement. And that was very intriguing for us. So we created the WiSpot. It's the ability to advertise on the spot with the enabler, which is wireless power.
And that's so powerful because we've talked to so many retailers where it's such a pain in the butt, pardon my French, to have to redo all the wiring. And it's like, well, we want to put a screen here, but we can't get the permits. We can't do all this extra work. You have to close down aisles. And for you can literally just pick up the screen and put it where you want it. No hassle.
Exactly. And actually, you don't want screens all over the place because then it becomes noise, right? So you want a screen here for 2 weeks, and you want a screen there for 2 months, and you want to be able to move it. So it doesn't really make sense to wire it temporarily, and then 2 weeks after to wire a different location. You really want to have the flexibility of positioning it everywhere, anywhere, on the cooler door, on freestanding islands, next to products. Think of it like the Google Ads of the physical store. What do we mean by Google Ads of the physical stores? When you're browsing online, right, you're looking for something. You have an intent already. And then comes the Google ad, which is the last nudge that drives you into a purchase acquisition. The same business model can be also in the store, but you have to engage someone. The customer is already there, is browsing. I want to buy something. I want to treat myself. I just don't know. I don't know why. Why? Hopefully, I don't know. And you want this ability to, hey, choose me. And that's where digital engagement comes. So it's the highest ROI. It's engaging with customers at eye level where they can be influenced.
That's amazing. And I'm curious, did you bring today you have a new larger model, I think, as well?
Yes. We actually started with a small one. We started with, it's slightly bright, so I don't...
Oh, there it is. The OG, the original gangster.
So this is actually even the second generation or the third generation, but 5-inch. We started with a small one that can go next to products without interfering with buyers reaching out to the product themselves. It grew to a 7-inch, and now we already have this a 9-inch, which is kind of slick. The first one that we introduced was I can say because we designed it. It was a bit ugly, and this one actually looks like a real product, a compelling one. So think of putting this next to the pizza or putting this next to the Coke. It's you get your juices running, and influencing, right? You want to get people to think about what they buy and to get them in action. So this one is a 9-inch. It's a bigger one than the previous one,
and full color, by the way. It's full color.
It's full color. It's a standard LCD display, full color. You can upload content over Wi-Fi. You can place it anywhere because you can power it over the air within 30 feet from the transmitter, from our wireless power transmitter, and you can have a playlist and run different videos at different hours. And there's also a sensor here that measures aisle traffic. So the invisible crowd suddenly becomes measurable, so the CPGs or the retailers can know what's happening in their stores. There is all this people walking around them, but the CPGs and the retailers are, I think, are desperate of knowing more about what's happening next to the products.
Data is gold, right? Things like dwell time, or should I move the screen to where there's higher foot traffic? And now you know. Exactly. Now, and is this is like privacy based? Some people are a little paranoid about the monitoring and things.
Oh, it's a dumb sensor that doesn't. It's like a PIR sensor, a presence sensor. So it doesn't. There's no photo. There is no. It's only the presence of heat that it detects the presence of a person, but no more data is gathered than that.
Because I'm self-conscious, I buy a lot of M&Ms, and my doctor doesn't need to know when I'm buying the 5-gallon. I'm just saying. Yes. So this is amazing. And one of the other things, people are not always familiar with the wireless power, I guess, revolution in a way. This is totally FDA. This is safe. This is not going to impact the cells or anything.
No. It's first of all, bottom line, it's FDA approved, it's UL approved, it's IEC approved. We passed all the safety certificates. When you dive into the physics, you also understand why it's safe. We chose infrared, which is the most benign part of the spectrum. If you'd ask, by the way, if you'd ask a doctor or you'd ask a regulator what is the most benign part of the spectrum, he will say infrared. And it also goes in direct line of transmission, which means that we don't bathe the environment with unwanted radiation, even though it's the same infrared that you go when you walk down the street. But 100% of what is being transmitted reaches the client device. So it's like your IR remote control, but it's 100% directional. And when people pass through the beam shuts off immediately, automatically. So it's completely safe, approved. And when you think about it, it's even, I want to say it, and I think I'm allowed, it doesn't bathe the environment, so it's safer than every other technology out there.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm so glad you mentioned the environment, because there's a huge sustainability side to this, right? Because with all the batteries in the landfills that we're throwing away.
Yes. Wireless power, when we started thinking about wireless power, we didn't think about it as an eco-friendly or a sustainable technology. But we discovered this is a transmitter that we have. This is for a home environment that is in a standard downlight fixture. But the black thing here, this is the transmitter. Obviously, in homes, we can save many batteries, but not thousands of batteries, because it's a home. So we can have smart locks that are running on batteries or without batteries, with supercapacitors, electric shades, game controllers, and other stuff which saves batteries. But in retail, it's actually the numbers are way more meaningful. This single device, single transmitter, can save up to 5,000 AA batteries. This is your body weight in batteries, slightly more. You look fit.
Wow. We're trying to get there. Thank you.
And in retail, when you're thinking about ESLs, the electronic shelf labels, even though they are running on an e-ink display and it's very super low power, and it's a coin cell, lithium coin cell battery that lasts 5 years. If you're thinking of a large retailer, let's say with 5,000 locations and with 100,000 SKUs in a single location, it still adds up to 100 million batteries every year, which we can replace with wireless power. So we are very, and that's for a single retailer. I believe we can save more than 1 billion batteries every year.
Wow.
And I think that's very exciting. The other upside of, stop me if I'm talking too much.
Not at all.
The other upside of wireless power is also extending the lithium polymer lifetime, because batteries, they don't like to be above 80% or at 100% or below 20%. That shortens the battery life. But when you use a power cord and you want to charge your device, you simply plug it in, forget about it, or you want it to be full as fast as possible. So which also, by the way, reduces battery life because of the stress. But you shorten battery life because you reach 100%. With wireless power, you can keep devices between 20% to 80%. Because you'd have wireless power all over the place. And this actually can extend the lithium polymer battery life, or lithium ion, by a factor of 5. So there is a nice sustainable play here. And we're working on concept in the smart shade space, where they are battery operated, but in order to replace it, you have to climb the ladder and then to plug in a power bank and wait for an hour or two and then disconnect it. Think of the situation where you can replace all those batteries with an eco-friendly component like a supercapacitor. The reason that today people are not using supercapacitors is because the energy density is way lower than a battery. So think about it as a battery that lasts only a week. You would never use it. But if you can keep it charged with wireless power, you get to a situation when you don't have toxic materials. You have an eco-friendly device that is always charged.
And that's the other thing, isn't it? Because all of these retailers, even the airports, because I've been traveling an awful lot recently, and you go to wash your hands and the soap won't turn on because the battery's dead because someone forgot to change it, right?
Yes.
And now you don't have to worry about someone going around changing all the batteries.
Yes. And that's an interesting use case, because actually we got phone calls from airports in the US. Can you fix that? Think of it. These are probably half of these devices are battery operated. So the device manufacturer reduces the functionality so the battery won't be drained fast. So by reducing the functionality, you harm the user experience. So when Daniel wants to wash his hands, he either prays for water to start pouring. It takes a second or two because someone preserved power on the detector, or it's dead and the facility manager doesn't know that because the device can't report it because it's saving power. Okay, there are probably 100 different products across 20 different industries that can enjoy wireless power, and that's one of them.
That's amazing. And you guys are expanding. So I'm super excited with digital signage because that's my bread and butter. But you guys have moved beyond this, and you guys have, I think, there's a toothbrush charger, there's a smart lock. How many devices do you cover now?
There is, as you say, there is. I'll tell you why we do that, and then I'll show you the devices. We want, it's probably, we want from our reason, but people want wireless power to be everywhere. We live in a busy world. We have too many devices that we need to worry about. And the number of devices is just growing. Now it's going to be the smart glasses and the AirPods and the smartphones and your smart lock and your smart shades and your blah, 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 blah. For every child being born, 30 devices go online.
Wow.
So yeah, that's an interesting statistic. So we're constantly chasing and worried about that. So we believe that a lot of these devices can have peace of mind with wireless power. What we as a wireless power solution provider, we can take care of all of these. We just want to say we have the transmitter, we have the receiver, take it, embed it, enjoy it. So we decided to do in order to show that we can. It's kind of like I used to say, kind of like dogs are peeing on trees to mark territories. We said, hey, there is the advertising displays. We're doing commercial. There is the smart lock solution. We are doing
Oh,
smart home.
nice.
By the way, this is an Alfred smart lock, which is available in the US and Canada. A Mortis lock, deadbolt, and this is what we want to be, right? We want to be like
Ah,
it's slightly out of focus, but it's like the Intel inside. It's powered by
yeah.
Y-Charge. We want to be everywhere, and the reason that so we have these two out. We have this toothbrush charger, which is very personal. So everyone hates
Yeah.
the power cord, so we can give that to people so they can experience firsthand with wireless power before all the OEMs adopt it. And there are other devices. We are doing the devices that I can disclose is that we're also toying with charging pads for meeting rooms that
Wow.
do not require. You can place them anywhere,
Oh, wow.
and you can use the magnetic induction. Only you don't need the cord, and this way we can get people again to experience with wireless electricity before it's embedded into your phones. But the application space that we're working on are in industrial, commercial, consumer, smart buildings also.
And it's sustainable because you're reducing the millions of pounds of plastic and wires that get thrown away, right? Every year.
The wires, the plastic, the hustle of running a wire in the wall, right? It's the work associated with that. It's the coordination of different subcontractors, the electricity permits. There is a lot of hassle with wires besides the unsightly of them. There is it's expensive
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Yeah. Well,
And
and I'm
so
also imagining, well, one of the other use cases that just popped into my head as you're talking, we cover the meeting space reservations where you see, well, Joe has the room till 12 o'clock. And if you could make that wireless, so you don't have to worry about changing the wires or the batteries constantly, that could be very helpful too.
So we recently did a nice installation in Virginia. Uh, Outfitted a building with these occupancy displays, and it started by because they had sliding doors, glass doors, which they wanted an occupancy display on the door, which is elegant, color, maybe even video. They didn't want something less than that, and there wasn't any solution because if you think of putting a display, even like this on a door, battery operated, it will probably consume 4 AA batteries every day.
Wow.
That's unsustainable and unmanageable. So we started by installing these on glass door, and then the building opted for, okay, let's do it everywhere. It's so easy. Transmitters in the ceiling, puck, 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 hang the displays on normal doors, on glass doors, on sliding doors,
Wow.
anywhere. So
That's
yes,
huge.
we believe that this is also a nice opportunity for us.
Well, I try to tell people we got to talk to you at the beginning. So when you're famous on the BBC and you're on all the TV shows, we talked to you in the early days. And I hate to say it, but I think we're running up against time. So, Ori, we're going to have you on again whenever you want to come. And next time I'm in the area, I'm going to Europe soon. And I hope I can stop by Tel Aviv to say hello, maybe see the headquarters, like where the magic happens. But thank you, thank you, thank you, Ori Moore from YCharge for explaining the wireless power revolution in digital signage, smart homes, and beyond. This has been the Digital Signage Today podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Brown, editor of Digital Signage Today. This is presented by Networld Media Group. Please make sure to like and follow for our upcoming episodes. We've got some very exciting stuff coming out from Ori and other inventors, and we'll chat with you here soon.